What and how is COVID-19 impacting your business? Why did you have to cut guidance or at least suspend it?
Well, first of all, from the beginning of the pandemic, our focus was on the health and the well-being of our employees. And we started implementing immediately remote work and issued very strict guidelines for the people that had to work on the front line in our factories, field forces, and so on, and helping the families and the community support the employees. Also, recently we announced a set of principles to guarantee employees that there will be no redundancies, that they have financial continuation, that their salaries will be paid, and there will be a bonus for the people that work on the front line. So, and also helping the communities, obviously, in which we operate. We pledged approximately $30 million so far in kind of monetary contributions to help where it's mostly needed. And many of our people work with the communities. And I think that's the most important part at this stage. The second is, of course, we needed to work to ensure business continuity because some of our factories were impacted by the restrictions. And I think so far, thanks to the work of our employees, we have very good business continuity and sufficient supply for our customers and the consumers. Now, the reality is that although we had a very strong first quarter, and also we have strong liquidity and very good balance sheet, so we can look forward with optimism, we cannot be immune to what's happening in the world with COVID. Mm-hmm. And we see that in certain areas of the business with certain degree of certainty, that for as long as the crisis continues, we will have impacts. For example, duty-free, because there is no traveling essentially around the world, so that impacts the business. And we don't know when this will finish. Nobody does, actually. The other is in certain developing countries, we see that people that have a lot of, daily salaries and difficulties, you have to assume that there will be some impact on consumption temporarily. And at the same time, you may, although we don't observe it, see some downgrading as people don't have daily jobs and they don't have the social support systems we have in the developing countries. And we don't know when the pandemic will finish and in which shape the economy will be. So I think it's prudent to guide the market on a quarterly basis where relatively we have better certainty. And then for the year, we just said we will give quarterly guidance because it's very, very difficult to forecast the year.
Understood. What about the health concerns? Particular warnings from experts that smoking cigarettes and even vaping could make risk of infection from COVID-19 a lot more severe. Has that hurt the business?
Well, COVID is a new and fairly complex disease, as we discover every day. Yes, there is a lot of very often contradictory, actually, hypotheses we hear that are reported in the media as facts. So there is not enough data today to know exactly what the impacts are on smokers, for example. The reality is that, in my view, and I said it many times in CNBC, any sound public health guidance should be given based on facts and scientific studies. And today, we don't have any in this area. Having said that, I think it's very important that smokers and non-smokers all follow the instructions of governments and public health authorities and protect themselves and the others. And we always said the best thing is to quit because no tobacco product is risk-free. So I suggest that we wait for facts and statistics before we draw conclusions.
And I did see that the FDA is saying that it's uncertain at this point. Andre, just while we have you, I wanted to also get you on another topic, which some might find surprising and unlikely and maybe a little ironic, and that is companies like yours helping to fund and figure out a vaccine against COVID-19. We've seen it from British American Tobacco, and then apparently you're supporting one of your Canadian subsidiaries. Why is Big Tobacco getting involved in when it comes to making a vaccine? And what's the edge here that you have?
Well, we had an investment in the Canadian company. The name is Medicago since 2013. And there was always research on how to develop vaccines on tobacco plants, because the tobacco plant has the ability to reproduce a virus-like particle that can be used for vaccines much faster than any other known method. So that's not novel. It has been there forever. Now, the company in which we have a minority shareholding is working, obviously, like any pharmaceutical company, on developing a vaccine. We all know developing a vaccine is a lengthy process, even with accelerated measures. And that's all. Of course, if they find a vaccine, that will be great for all of us. And that's why we support their initiative. That stops there.